How do we more effectively lead people and influence people? John Maxwell actually said leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So how do we do it? Well, rather than going to Barnes & Noble, rather than looking on the internet, why don't we go back in history? I'm talking all the way back to a guy named Aristotle, and let's learn what he taught about the 3 artistic proofs and how powerful they can be in leading and influencing people ethically. Now, on top of that, I'm actually going to put a 4th one on that will make it not only more powerful, hear me, more biblical. Let's go. Welcome to God Dream University. I am Bob Upton, and GDU exists. You know why it exists? To help you start and grow a ministry, my friend. If you're just starting out, we can help you with that. Or if you are currently leading a ministry, we want to come beside you and help you amplify the work that God is calling you to orchestrate. To that end, I want to direct you to a free masterclass. The link, it's in the description. 3 secrets to start and grow your ministry. And you know what they are? They're actually paradigm shifts. You think one way, and they're actually another way. And these 3 things are things that I have learned over the years that are just there to serve you, to help you in the work that you're currently doing. And if you're thinking of starting a ministry, they're so important to understand at the front end. So take advantage of that. At the end of the masterclass, I actually show you what God Dream University looks like. In fact, I even give you an invitation to join the family if you want to join the family and receive further mentorship. So take advantage of that free masterclass. All right, let's get into the free content, totally free, right? On top of the free masterclass, it's just free. I'm going to give you some really interesting information. We could go to a number of different places and learn about leadership, learn about influence, but what I want to do is pull you back into history and learn from Aristotle, a Greek philosopher. Many people thought of him as the first scientist in history. We're not learning science from Aristotle. What we're learning is actually art, specifically what he coined as the 3 artistic proofs. And these 3 artistic proofs, become powerful drivers in your ability to influence, persuade, but most of all, ethically lead people, I believe. And what I want to do is just teach these really quickly and have them be a lens in how we approach our work and how we approach our ministry and the opportunity that we have to lead people using these 3 artistic proofs. And then, my friend, I'm going to give you a 4th one that I believe makes it, just amplifies all of them. So the first one is pathos. Pathos is passion. Pathos is emotion. Pathos is conveying your care for the subject matter that you are talking about. Imagine listening to someone share the gospel, let's say in ministry, and have pathos. I don't know if you've ever heard of the name Billy Graham. Go YouTube Billy Graham and listen to him share the gospel. He conveys the gospel with pathos, right? Anybody who is presenting something that they have deep care and concern for will project with pathos. And that could be somebody sharing the gospel like Billy Graham. It could be somebody leading a meeting in their company or in their church or in their school. Pathos moves the needle in terms of influence and leadership all the time. Do you have pathos? Pathos communicates, really. If I have pathos, I am projecting, I am communicating to the people that I'm leading that what I'm talking about, I care deeply about. Conversely, if I don't have pathos, if I kind of get up and talk like Charlie Brown's teacher, where it's just like, I bet you didn't know I could do imitations, right? If you project yourself that way, it is communicating. You are clearly communicating to the people that you are striving to lead that what you're talking about does not have value, because there's no pathos attached to it. And Aristotle would say, attach pathos to the things that you care about, to the argument that you are making, to what you are striving to convince people of. Project pathos, and you will have a greater capacity to influence and ultimately lead them, right? That's pathos. Ethos is different. Ethos is ethics. Ethos is the qualifications, the credibilities, the credentials that you bring. And ultimately, ethos is about establishing trust in the people that you are leading. We are all credentialed and qualified to do different things. right? I am credentialed and qualified to do some specific things. We started a sports ministry years ago, and because of my experience in sports, I was credentialed and qualified to lead that sports environment, right? And people trusted that because they knew my experience in it. It is the trust that we can show and share with people. It's the respect also that we bring people. It is the professional manner in which we project to people. In God Dream University, I am credentialed, right, and qualified to lead and mentor people to start and grow ministries because we've been doing it for almost 3 decades, which doesn't mean that we've had 3 decades of success. What it means is we have 3 decades of experience of great victory, but also walking through great challenge. And in walking through those challenges, we can help people eliminate the landmines that we walk through for many, many years through the experience, right? That's ethos. It's ethics, it's trust, it's credentials, it's qualifications. And when we build trust, we have a greater capacity to lead people. Now imagine if you're a person who has great ethos, but no pathos. You see how you're limited? But let's say you have great passion, but you're not credentialed. You're not qualified. You have not built trust. It's hard to lead people as well. But when you have both pathos and ethos, you see how strong you can be as a leader. Now let's add the third one, logos. Logos is the logic behind your argument. It's really evidence-based. Logos is, I think, clear. It's specific in some ways. It's metaphorical, where you're able to use metaphors to establish evidence. It's almost saying, let's just step back and look at the evidence logically. So whatever I'm trying to convince somebody of, let's just use the gospel as an example, or let's just use Jesus as an example. I am making a pathos appeal, a passionate appeal. And I have years of experience in my faith, in leading ministries, in my personal life. I'm qualified, credentialed, I'm trustworthy, and I'm trying to convince somebody of Jesus. And I would say, let's logically just look back at Jesus and let's just see if he's real or not. And I could logically use the prophecies in the Bible about Jesus and share with them and establish a strong evidence-based appeal for the life of Christ and for the mission of Christ. Now, if I have pathos and I have ethos, but I can't logically communicate something, you're going to struggle leading somebody, right? We want to be clear. We want to be concise. We want to be specific. We want to be evidence-based. That would be logos. And Aristotle would say pathos, ethos, and logos are 3 things, powerful drivers in your ability and my ability to influence and to ethically lead people, for sure. How are you doing on your pathos? Do you have, when you make an appeal, isn't a passionate appeal? How are you doing on your logos? Are you trustworthy? Are you qualified and credentialed? Are you in an arena where you don't have great ethos, right? And how do you gain greater experience? How do you establish greater credentials? And do you have the ability to logically, to logos, to bring logos into the situation? I really believe that genius is found in simplicity. And I think that could go under logos, where we clearly and concisely, logically, with evidence, present our case. Now, Aristotle would say these 3 things are powerful. They are powerful in our ability to influence and lead people. But I want to add a 4th one. And I added a 4th one to this years ago when I went and I was asked to speak to a large company because I felt like something was missing. And what was missing was a 4th Greek word, in my opinion, called doulos. D-O-U-L-O-S, doulos. And what doulos is, pathos is passion, ethos is ethics, logos is logic, doulos is servanthood. Doulos is actually, to the point of servanthood, it's slavery. It is a slave to serving, right? Doulos is powerful. And what we're talking about here is servant leadership. Specifically, we're talking about having the mindset that it's transformation over just doing a program for somebody, right? It's serving over trying to sell somebody. It's being relational over being transactional with somebody. And I'm not even just talking about a customer. It could be a customer, but people in ministry, in the church, in all kinds of different ways, shapes, and forms, we can become programmed and not really focus, have the transformation that God wants to bring into the lives of people be diminished. For sure, we can do that, right? We can try and sell our ministry and be limited in how we serve people. We can definitely be transactional as opposed to relational. And what a doulos leader, what a servant, a slave to serving, so much that you are a slave to the people that you are serving, they would focus on transformation. They would focus on serving and value. They would focus on the beauty of being relational and getting to know the people that you are serving and loving and leading them. And we know that for sure because we can read in Galatians 5:13. Here's what it says. You, my brothers, were called to be free. But don't use your freedom to indulge in sinful nature. Rather, serve one another in humility and in love. And all I know is the greater that you serve, the greater the capacity that you serve, let's say outside of ministry, the less that you will ever have to sell. Let me say that again. The greater the capacity that you serve, the less that you will ever have to sell. We are looking at the people that God has put in front of us, and we say, how do I bring enormous value? How do I serve and solve problems for the people that God has called me to lead practically and spiritually if we are in ministry? Pathos, passion. Ethos, ethics. Logos, logic. But what brings them all together is really the heart and the embodiment of who Jesus was. He didn't say that he came to be served. He said he came to serve. And we are to walk like Christ in our work, in our calling, in our ministries. We are called to have passion. We are called to be qualified. And guess what? If you are in ministry, you are called because the Holy Spirit resides in you, right? We are called to logically present a case for Christ in ministry, to be people who are clear, concise in the world. But ultimately, all of us, in and outside of the ministry world, wherever your ministry resides, we are called to serve. We are called to have doulos, to clothe ourselves in doulos. And all I know is when we walk in a servant manner, God's favor comes upon that work. And my prayer is I want you to lead strong. And oftentimes we think it requires great charisma. It requires great power. It requires great authority. Do you know how you really establish authority? Ethos will establish your authority for you. But if you clothe it in doulos, it becomes this beautiful aroma where people want to follow you. Pathos, ethos, logos, and never forget doulos. Let's apply those and let's lead well. Let's lead with influence and let's ethically lead people in a closer relationship to Christ. God bless. Hey, if you enjoyed this piece of content and felt like there was value in the content provided, or perhaps this information could minister and speak into the lives of other people, maybe even friends that you have, I'm going to ask for your help. Would you please subscribe to this channel so we can join hands together and lead people to become more ministry focused in their lives? Thanks so much. God bless.